Hi, I'm Phileas Steyn and I'm the safari expert. And as you know, I absolutely love underground hides. And that's exactly why I've come here today to the Timbavati Private Nature Reserve in South Africa's Greater Kruger to show you King's Camp's brand new and unbelievable underground hide, the King's Warren. But before I show you what it looks like on the inside, I've asked the person who made the hide a reality to tell us a little bit more about King's Camp. Warren Moore is the general manager at King's Camp and has called this amazing place home for the past 28 years.
We're situated in the world famous Timbavati Private Nature Reserve, which is probably most famous for the white lions back in the 70s, the white lions of the Timbavati. We lie adjacent to the Kruger National Park, so we're part of the Greater Kruger ecosystem, which makes it an area roughly the size of Wales, which is 2.2 million hectares. And the wildlife has free range over this entire landscape of wilderness, which is very, very special. We're quite fortunate at King's Camp. Where the lodge is situated itself, we typically have sort of mixed bushveld, knob, thorn, marula veld, but we've got a nice variety of different traversing areas. We can sort of traverse to the southern areas where we got nice open gabbro plains, and we can go further north into sort of Mopani rugged veld. But yeah, typically bushveld, mixed bushveld, with an array of different wildlife, including obviously the big five.
If you ask me, the bushveld around King's Camp is some of the most beautiful you'll find in the entire Lowveld. And over the years, I've had some unforgettable sightings here. But going on safari is about more than just seeing animals. At King's Camp, they've created a home away from home where you can relax in comfort. The rooms are spacious and beautifully decorated and are some of the most luxurious I've ever stayed in. The gardens are large and lush, and there are plenty of places to put your feet up during the heat of the day, including the King's Warren, which opened on the 1st of June 2023. Warren explains how the idea of building a hide and camp was born.
Well, I mean, I've always been passionate about the bush, and I've been passionate about sitting in, and you know, being in the bush, you've got to have patience. And I love sitting at hides. Whenever I go on my holidays, I go and I find a little quaint or quiet little spot where I can sit and wait for something to come. And we've got this beautiful little waterhole out front, and it's so productive, you know, especially in the dry months. We sit here on the deck and we watch the elephants come in, the buffaloes come in. At night there's hyenas, so there's so much activity. And I thought, can you imagine being able to go up close, sitting there right underneath the animals at eye level and watch these animals come to drink? So I've been sort of trying to persuade the owners for a number of years to build this hide, and recently the owners actually experienced a very similar type of hide in Boshatu, and they came back and they said, Warren, it's a winner, let's do it. So I thought, well, that's it, let's go for it. And yeah, we've built this beautiful hide, very, very proud, very excited about the opportunities and what it's going to provide for our guests. You know, it's not something that's specifically for a photographer, it's for everybody to enjoy. You know, it's about being close and being up close there with the animals, sitting there, watching them come, do their bit, come and drink, yeah, throughout the day. So very, very excited.
So when it comes to the exact position of the hide, there are a few things that played in their favor when they built this hide. First of all, there's always been a man-made waterhole here that they've pumped for years and years. And that means that the animals are used to drinking here. It's part of their daily routine. So I'm convinced that all those animals are going to come back soon to drink in front of the hide. Secondly, as you can see behind me, there's a nice big natural open area. And that means they didn't have to do any bush clearing. And that sort of nice open background means nice clean backgrounds for the photographs that you take from within the hide. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, the hide faces southeast. Now here in the southern hemisphere, it's great for underground hides to face south or southish, because that just means that you've got good light both in the mornings and the afternoons. What they also did very cleverly is to keep the roof of the hide low enough that guests can still see the edge of the waterhole, and hence anything that comes down to drink if they sit up on the deck having breakfast or lunch. Another great design feature is a sunken walkway that leads to the entrance of the hide, lowering the risk of scaring away any animals in the vicinity of the water when you approach it. Right guys, let me show you the inside of the hide. Now as you can see, this isn't just any bunker hide. It's massive and extremely luxurious, and they really did think of everything. Now where I'm standing right here now on the entrance, it's nice and high. In other words, I'm not going to bump my head here, but like with most underground hides, the moment you step closer to the edge towards the chairs, you've got to be careful with your head, because obviously the roof had to be low enough so that you can see over the hide from the top at the lodge. Now if we look at the chairs themselves, you can see that there's space for 10 people to sit here comfortably, and these chairs, having sat in them for the last 2 days, are incredibly comfortable. So what I love about them is not only can you easily swivel around, which is great when you're talking to the people next to you or taking photographs, but it's very easy to also change the height. So to go down if you're a tall person, or if you're a shorty, you can just quickly go back up to the top. So these are great. I also love all the different support systems that they've got here. They've got 3 different kinds of bean bags, a very low one if you want to be close to the water level, and then higher ones if you want to be a little bit higher or have bigger, heavier cameras. And then I also love all this sort of space that you've got in front of you. More than enough space for binoculars, other lenses, my GoPro, and if you follow me, you'll see that I even have my laptop here. So earlier today I was sitting here working the whole afternoon, more than enough space, and of course a charging station as well, not only for the laptop, but for my cameras and for my cell phone and everything like that. Speaking of my cell phone, there's also Wi-Fi in the hide. So if you're sitting here for long periods of time and there's not much happening, you can jump onto Instagram or YouTube. But what I do recommend, always bring a set of earphones with so that you don't disturb anybody else that's in the hide. Now if we look a little bit at the shape of the hide, that's quite interesting, because all the other underground hides that I've sat in before are just straight, whereas this one has got this half moon shape. And I actually think it works really well, because what it gives you are sort of 3 distinct different angles that you look onto the edge of the water. So if you sit in the far side, on that side, you look at this little sort of reeded papyrus corner, and if you sit on that side, you're looking towards a log where the kingfisher often sits. In fact, a little striated heron has just landed here. And of course, if you sit in the middle, you're looking straight towards the far side, that beautiful bank that's got beautiful golden light in the mornings and the afternoons, where you're hoping that large mammals will come and drink. Now, one of my favorite bits in the hide is in this corner. In fact, there's one on the other side as well. It's a little coffee station at the bottom where you can make yourself a nice cup of coffee. But also here at the top is a monitor that allows you to kind of monitor the surroundings of the hide. So as you'll see, if I double click, you'll see there are 4 different camera angles. And those are CCTV cameras at the top. And what they allow you to do is to see animals approaching from different sides around the hide. And that's just going to give you a little bit of a heads up when something shy, like maybe zebras or giraffe, or maybe a herd of elephants that are coming from a distance, just means you're going to see them before they get here, and you can be ready for when it happens. So what I like to do is I just choose the one that I want to monitor. Let's say I want to monitor the right. Double click, leave it like this, and I can sit way there in the distance and just look over my shoulder every now and again to see whether or not anything's coming. Down here next to me, you'll see a big comfy chair. There's one in either corner, and that's for in the evenings or in the middle of the day when you're getting a little bit sleepy. There's even a blanket. You can just rest your head here a little while. And talking about getting sleepy, at night, you can sit in here as well. There are some lights here just to make sure that you can see all your equipment. And there are also lights on the outside. 2 floodlights on this side and a floodlight on the other side backlighting the animals. And that means you can potentially see things like hyena, civet, if you're lucky, even a leopard. So you can sit here long after dinner to see the nocturnal animals come to drink as well. Last but not least, let's quickly talk about these windows. So you'll see that obviously you've got these slits in the front through which you photograph. Some underground hides, these are permanently open, and in others they're permanently closed. But I like the fact here that you have the option of closing it when it's very windy or cold, or even if there's an animal that you're a little bit nervous of. But I personally love keeping it open so that you can hear all the sounds, smell the smells, and obviously it's the easiest way to take photographs as well. All in all, I think they got it spot on. I couldn't resist asking Warren whether or not the hide was named after him.
Maybe. You know, my son Cathan, he's he's also like me. I think we're from the same mold. He's very passionate about the bush. He's taken a little bit of a different direction to me, where he's become a photographer. And so yeah, he's obviously been an integral part of the planning of this hide and taking pictures at eye level. But Cathan said, "Dad, you know what? Do you know what a warren is?" I said, "Yeah, I know what a warren is." He says, "Warren, it's a rabbit's burrow. You know, it's a network of burrows. And if you Google the name warren, it actually says protector of a game park warden. That's the meaning of warren." He says, "Let's call it the King's Warren. It's been your passion. You've been here 28 years, and it has obviously this ambiguity to it. So the King's Warren was born."
Cathan is one of South Africa's most talented young wildlife photographers, who has amassed a huge following on Instagram, where he goes by the name Maniac. During my visit to King's Camp, I had the privilege of spending some time with him inside the hide. Cathan, so you've been sitting here for a while now, over the last 2 weeks. Have you had some cool sightings here?
No, definitely. I think probably the highlight already for me has been the elephants.
Nice.
Sort of late afternoon, golden light, herds of ellies coming up and drinking. But I mean, other than that, general game, kudu's, warthogs. Just yesterday afternoon we had a nice giraffe bull come down and drink in twilight as well. So I think definitely spending time here, you start realizing the potential that this hide has. And definitely, you start spending more extended periods here, you're going to see some really special stuff.
What about before the hide was built, like when you basically grew up here in camp? What are some of the memorable sightings from the old waterhole before the hide was built here?
This waterhole is pretty renowned. I mean, anything and everything you could think of. I mean, 20 lions lined up drinking at the water's edge. We've had packs of dogs chase a nyal at you into the middle of the water and then eventually pull it out of it. So, I mean, being in this open area in the Greater Kruger National Park, anything is possible.
Yeah. Imagine that actually happens now in front of the hide and you've got your camera ready and everything. Yeah. Have you fantasized about a specific shot that you're hoping to see here over the next year or so?
We've got a leopardess with 2 cubs, and I've got this dream where she comes up from the western bank and lines up with her 2 cubs drinking, looking straight into the lens. But
What about birds? Have you had some cool bird sightings here
as well? Definitely. Again, the smaller things like your brown-headed parrot and your Burchell starling drinking. But I mean, we've had a Varroa's eagle owl come down and drink, white-backed vulture, seen woolly-necked storks, martial eagle. So again, it's just you start realizing the potential that this sort of thing has, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think I better come back in the dry season and spend a week or 2 in here. I don't think you're going to get me out of this hide. The water attracts a lot of small creatures like dragonflies, terrapins, and monitor lizards, and I was amazed by how many bird species I saw in the short time that I spent inside the hide. The highlight, however, is seeing large mammals come down to drink, and if you're like Cathan and me, getting some awesome photographs of them as well. I really hope that this video gives you a better idea of what to expect from the King's Warren underground hide here at King's Camp in the Timbavati Private Nature Reserve. I've left a link to the King's Camp website in the video description if you want to go and have a look or make a booking. And I'll definitely be back here later this year in the dry season to spend some more time in the hide and share all the awesome sightings with you. A massive shout out also to all my patrons for making this video possible. For those of you that don't know, I have a Patreon page and you can follow the link to that at the top of the video description. And it's basically a place where you can make a small monthly donation to support the channel. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to ask any questions you might have in the comments down below. Until next time.